Hello and welcome to another installment of the Warning Round Podcast, a very special installment of the Warning Round Podcast. We're here to discuss the 2025 Chicago Windup Watch Fair. It's going to be spectacular. It's going to be a good time. It's going to blow your minds. I'm joined today by Kyle Snar, Head of Partnerships.
Hello, hello.
And Nellie Calhoun, Partnerships Operations Manager.
Newly minted.
Not so new. It's been 6 months.
All right. Well, first time on the podcast.
No.
With that title?
No.
Oh, all right. Whatever.
Dallas and San Francisco.
Third time.
Third time's the charm.
I'm Nellie Calhoun. I'm the Partnerships Operations Manager, nay, Events Manager.
Good.
Moving on up in this world.
It's true. Really far up. So like we said, we're going to talk Windup Chicago. Before we get to Windup Chicago, first of all, before we get to Windup Chicago, let's just say the dates and the location of Windup Chicago right at the top. Kyle, take it away.
You got it. So just if you're listening and need a bounce real quick, it is next Friday, or this Friday when this comes out, Friday, July 11th through Sunday, July 13th at Venue West in Chicago, Illinois. This is at 221 North Paulina Street.
It's technically Paulina.
Paulina. Dang it.
Yeah.
Paulina Street.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay, cool.
And
now you're speaking like a real Chicagoan.
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
Deep dish. So, and it's open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 12 to 6, 12 to 6, 12 to 5, respectively.
Correct.
Awesome. And we should just shout out before we get on to other things. This is still the 10-year anniversary year of Windup in general. So, congrats again, Blake, for making it 10 years of this crazy, awesome, fun, great event.
Yeah, my child is 10. Is 10 a good year for children, Kyle? I wouldn't know.
It's pretty good. Pretty good. They're not totally little kids anymore, bumping their heads on stuff, and they're not
and they'll acknowledge you at the school drop-off line. They're not ooh, gross, my parents.
Yeah, exactly, which is,
that's nice.
I remember turning 10 very vividly. I know what I wore to my birthday party.
Okay. Maybe as a subtle nod to the 10-year anniversary, you should wear that outfit at Windup, New York.
Or something like that.
Honestly, I probably have something that approximates it.
Do it.
A lot.
Okay, done.
Do you want to know what it is?
No, it should be a surprise.
I kind of dress the same now as I did when I was 10, which is to say business casual all the time.
Not least surprising factoid about your childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Let's get to the watches, okay?
Yeah.
Totally.
So first, before we get to the details of Windup Chicago, as is customary, we need to do a wrist check. Kyle, what do you have on your wrist?
Today, I have on a long-term loaner from Ricardo Cime, our shop manager. It is a 1984 Citizen record label chronograph, which is looks like it's really out of kind of that 80s sort of brutalist sort of vibe. I put it on today and thought literally man, Bradley Price would really like this watch. Yeah. And then, of course, I'm here in the office, and who walks in? Mr. Bradley Price from Autodromo. He spots it from across the room. He's immedially points, "What's that?"
Oh, that's funny.
And so we got to talking about it. And of course, it's, it's got a lot of those kind of same vibes as the Group B. But, I wore it today because Citizen's one of our lead sponsors this year.
Oh, hot dog.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool watch. Is it a long-term loaner because you're refusing to pay Ricardo for the watch, or?
He's refusing to take money.
Okay.
So that's why I told him it's a long-term loaner.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It fits you well.
Thanks.
Yeah. Nellie, what watch do you have on your wrist?
Well, it's kind of a crazy day because I have actually 2 watches on today.
Sick.
I'm not double wristing. I'm wearing the Pollen Model A quartz with a steel mesh bracelet. And they're amazing yellow dial. I literally bought this today walked into the warehouse, picked it up. Perks of working here at Worn and Wound.
Still haven't made payment.
No, I did.
Oh, you did? I thought this was like something you would pay for, like we would work out the payment later kind of a thing.
Well, I wasn't given that option.
Okay.
So I paid it for it already.
Let me tell you.
But I'm super excited. I just got tickets to the US Open, so it feels very like tennis ball, summertime coated. Great dial color. Super excited. And then I'm also wearing a Fossil ring watch, which I was pretty stoked about. I came in only wearing the ring watch because sometimes in the summer I don't love like wearing a watch on your wrist.
How dare you?
Yeah, what are you talking about? That's weird. It's
No,
a weird
it's
take.
not.
Okay.
Sometimes it feels a little like, I was biking today. It's hot outside. I didn't want it on my wrist.
These are feelings that are very foreign to me, but it's okay.
Well, different strokes. So I'm wearing two, which is crazy.
When you wear that ring, do you feel married to Father Time ever? No, it's okay.
I hate that.
Yeah, you don't have to answer my stupid questions.
We should come back to ring watches at some point, though. In this
It might be
conversation.
relevant to Windup Chicago.
Could
Perhaps.
be.
Blake, what are you wearing today?
A watch that's not related to Windup at all.
That's okay.
I'm wearing my white Omega Speedmaster moon watch on the bracelet. Great summertime watch. I love wearing this watch when it's hot out.
And biking and all that.
And biking and hiking and weeding and gardening and swimming. There's never a time I don't like wearing this watch. Nelly.
Different strokes.
All right, so let's get to Windup Chicago. What's the haps? What do we want to talk about as it relates to Chicago Windup?
Yeah. Well, this is our 4th year in Chicago and excited to be back. We had, a very toasty year last year in Chicago, so we're hoping the weather is beneficial this year. But the good news is, if you came last year, you know that it was quite toasty. The folks at Venue West are taking lots of measures to make it a little bit more comfortable for us this year, which is amazing. And just a reminder, this whole event is always and will be free and open to the public. So, bring your friends, bring your family, bring your dog. Like, we're good. Come as you are. Come have a good time with us. And I think what's exciting about this year is that we have a lot of new brands coming, and we have some even new brands in our lead sponsor lineup who have never been a lead sponsor at any Windup before. So I'll just go through those lead sponsors real quick. It's Atelier Wen, Casio, Christopher Ward, Citizen, and our good friends at Oris. And just as you kind of heard that, Atelier Wen is stepping up as a lead sponsor for the first time. They were in New York Windup last year, and really excited to have them bring their team out to Chicago this year and show off a lot of new things, including their Perception watch. And then you may think, oh, wait, Casio, they've been a lead sponsor before. Actually, it's always been G-Shock has been a lead sponsor multiple times for us. But this year, they're bringing Casio in as the kind of umbrella sponsor. We'll have amazing G-Shocks there, of course. But we're going to have some other watches, too. Some throwback kind of like retro Casios that we all know and love, and probably have a handful of in our own collections. But some other new Casio brands will be actually introduced at Windup this year. So, lots of brands do launch watches at Windup, which we're always, grateful for and excited about. But this is the first time that Casio will be launching a watch at a Windup. So definitely cruise by their booth and check out what they've got going.
One more thing, if I may pipe in, Casio. Giving more hype to the ring watch, they just dropped their Casio ring watch, the CRW001-1, sold out online already at Casio. But we will have a limited number available for sale at the Windup Watch Fair. I've already bought one, so quantity is down by 1 if you're sensing a theme here. But I'm super excited. That's going to be a really fun.
Dare I say
watch.
they won't make it past the first day?
Oh, wait.
Probably
Oh,
like the
certainly
first
not.
few hours of the first day. So if you're a responsible adult and you have to work, I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
But maybe we should reserve a few for like responsible adults who have to work on a Friday afternoon.
Maybe.
Yeah, but let's make them work for it. So let's send them on like a scavenger hunt to
Fair
get
enough.
one of
Yeah.
the
Fair
final
enough.
few.
Yeah,
Details to come on that.
Yeah, I'm excited about those. And those are going to go pretty quick.
fast, yeah.
I'm excited about just like Casio in general. I feel like that, like, I hope they do really well from like a sales perspective, whatever. But like, I just get the sense that like I feel like I'm going to swing by the booth and probably like pick up something. It's just going to be like one of those like grab and go.
Exactly. It's just like
nostalgia.
why wouldn't
Yeah.
you sort of thing. Exactly. So obviously we're excited for that kind of shift in strategy, which is really cool. Christopher Ward, always a crowd favorite, going to be there with the Loco, which was, not launched at Windup San Francisco, but like so immediately thereafter, it really felt like kind of a launch. They also have, I was talking to Michael Pearson just the other day, and they have their new C60 Trident Reef that's going to be there. It just came out. It hasn't seen a hands-on show yet. And he was saying to me, like, you have to try this watch on. It looks like a big one online, but as soon as you get it on wrist, apparently it really is a super wearable watch. So that's exciting as well.
Yeah. And you go see that, like, see the Loco in person.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly
amazing.
impressive watch. See it in person.
Absolutely. Citizen will be there. It's a huge year for Citizen. If you are into 80s vibes or like sci-fi movies, then you kind of probably already know what the Aqualand is all about. But, it's one of their classic dive watch silhouettes, kind of with that big old, depth sensor nodules sticking out on the side. But it's the 40th anniversary of Aqualand this year. So there's a lot of celebratory things happening around Aqualand at Windup Chicago. We will have a big panel on Sunday going deep into the lore, and we'll talk more about that. But they're also doing a really cool raffle for the first 10 people who purchase an Aqualand over the weekend. You'll be instantly entered into a raffle to potentially win an Aqualand oil painting by Mr. Justin Souders, who, if you follow any of the enthusiast communities on Instagram, you've probably come across his stuff before. So that's really cool. And then, of course, we have Boris returning, like one of our longest term lead sponsor, early adopter of the Windup concept.
Yeah.
And they're going to be there with a lot of their classics, but they also will have in hand, so we can purchase them, their latest Aquas dates, which is that berries collection, those really bright and vibrant colors,
Cool.
taste of summer, if you will.
Cool.
So that's really cool too.
Yeah. Yeah. They've been sort of like fine tuning a number of their models. And they're all really nice. So yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, so great lead sponsors this year with new ones in the mix and some classic returning leads, but a lot of little notable things happening along the fair as well. I'm excited for some new brands that are coming to a Windup for the very first time ever, and so this is exciting for us. Nelly, do you want to shout out some of those?
Yeah, so we have Celeste, which is a brand joining us from the Pacific Northwest. They're coming for the very first time. Their dials are very
handcrafted, like artisanal
exactly
dials where it's this Celeste herself, she's like a master crafts person who gets in there and really does some stuff very impressive. I know Zach Weiss is like,
we
kinda
talked
called
about
them
them
out.
a little bit on the live stream that's up on YouTube now if you missed the live show, but like Zach's very excited about them, and I think we were saying like you'll probably see them and go, oh, those are like maybe a little bit outside the wheelhouse of like the typical thing you might see on the pages of Worn and Wound or at a Windup, but they're also not because of what you're describing, like the level of like craftsmanship that goes into them. They've got these like very ornate sort of artistic dials that feature like maybe birds or flowers, which again, you're saying, oh, that's not really a Worn and Wound thing, but the artistry that goes into it very much is. And then they also have some sort of engine turned dials, which are really beautiful. So I think whether it's something that you'd like see yourself wearing or just something if you're like interested in the handcraft of watchmaking, like I think it's exciting they're going to be there, and I definitely would check them out.
Yeah, very impressive craftsmanship and hugely important woman-owned brand.
Yeah.
Rare in the watch space, really exciting to see. Shout out to my sisters out there.
Yeah.
Woman-owned watch brand. Love to see it.
And speaking of handcrafted, also we have Watchcraft that's coming for the first time. You remember meeting this gentleman. We were in Windup, Dallas, and there was a guy wearing some really cool watches and on bracelets, and we ended up chatting. And of course, it's a watchmaker, and this brand is all about handcrafted metal work for around watches, which is really cool.
Really impressive bracelets, very cool, artistic lens.
Yeah. Again, I think something that, like, again, is probably sort of outside the wheelhouse of, I think, what you might typically expect if you're looking for, your sport watches or your, field watches, or whatever. Like that this is not that. But again, we were talking about this on the live stream. I think when you have brands like this come to Windup, what's really cool about it is kind of getting to see how the brand reacts to and interacts with the enthusiast audience, and just sort of seeing that interplay. But then also seeing maybe an audience that's coming to Windup that we were not really realizing were coming to Windup. Like, I think that's so exciting. So again, another brand that I'm excited to see how they do.
So we already mentioned Casio coming kind of for the first time as Casio and launching a product and a brand at the fair. We also have WatchGang, who's bringing a bunch of new curated brands from around the world that we haven't really heard of before. You'll kind of hear them shouted out in our classic Nelly kind of top to bottom read down of the brands. Far and Swit, which is a fun little enthusiast brand. They're coming for the first time. They have a really cool digital watch that you can look out for as well. Really easy to look at and be like, okay, I need to have that in my collection. It's a mix. It's kind of based on 80s mixtape vibes.
Oh, cool.
So that's really fun. And not that they haven't come to Windup before, but we are having Doxa join us in Chicago for the first time, which is really exciting as well. So we shout out to Doxa for making things happen to be there, and we're happy to have them. Yeah,
very excited for them to be there again, having introduced some new stuff recently. So excited.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then we have some local brands. We always like to shout out the brands that are kind of local to the venue that we're talking about. And Nelly, do you want to give us a rundown of those?
Yeah. So first we have Oak Street Bootmakers. Very excited to have them back. Great Chicago-based footwear company. I know a total favorite of everyone on the team. I think the last time they were in Chicago, nearly everyone on the Worn and Wound team, certainly the leadership team, bought a pair of boots. Maybe didn't walk away from the fair with a watch, but they have great stuff. I personally have my eye on some boat shoes. Super excited. So they'll be joining us with a selection of footwear and accessories. I know, Blake, you got maybe 2 hats last time.
I bought all 3 colors that they had. They make
3 hats.
They make a very simple, maybe you call it a dad hat style hat that not to get it's just the crown is perfectly sized. It's a little bit bigger than maybe your typical, if you have a big head and you ever put those dad hats on, sometimes they just kind of grip your head, but this has a little bit more room, but not so much room that there's a bunch of empty space in there. It's also I don't remember the weight of the hat, but it's a little bit heavier than your typical cotton dad hat, but not too heavy. I'm a big fan of hats. Also, I have multiple pairs of their shoes. I bought a pair of I was just looking up the name of the boot, but their camp boot, which is sort of a moccasin toe, waterproof. It's this interesting waterproof design. I think I'm getting that right. I've worn a lot of boots in my day. These are the most comfortable boots that I've ever worn in my entire life. And you guys can attest, basically from the moment I bought them, maybe early fall last year, I can't remember when I bought them, but basically up until it was too hot to wear a leather boot, I basically wore these every day
until the toes came out.
Yeah. And now it's sun's out, toes out.
Seriously.
Yeah, I love those boots. So.
Cool. I'm so pumped that they're coming again. Other returning champs.
Yeah, sorry, I have to navigate away from the Oak Street website where I'm drooling. Another oak-themed Chicago-based brand, Oak and Oscar, returning, always a favorite. Shout out to Chase. He always really brings brings the Chicago spirit, usually
And
brings
decor.
the pup.
Oh, yeah.
Great decor always, and a fellow Kinto water bottle lover.
Wow.
So
Just had lunch today with Bradley Price from Autodromo, and we were singing the praises of Chase and Oak and Oscar, specifically what they're doing with some of those hand-painted dials with the fish on them. They're very cool.
Cool.
Additionally, we have our friend Nick from N Paulina. He'll be joining us again. I feel like this is always such a hidden gem of the fair. Not so hidden, but a great surprise. Nick curates vintage watch ads as well as sports cars and other sort of enthusiast-inspired old ads. You can get them framed or unframed. He has a huge variety. He's meticulous in his sourcing. Really incredible stuff. So definitely check out the N Paulina booth as well.
Yeah. That's the kind of booth you like. If you stop by and you have any kind of inkling that you're going to be interested in what he has, you're going to find something and probably buy it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
For sure.
We just went over, sort of did a little deep dive, but Far and Swit, also an Illinois-based brand just outside of Chicago. We have our friends at Astern Banks and Solabs coming again.
Always nice to have them.
My favorite, I don't know if you're sensing the theme of talking about anything but watches when mentioning these brands, but I had one of the best surprise run-ins in my life. Ran into Andrew from Astern Banks on the street in Mexico City.
What?
Randomly one time. It was great.
Okay, that's interesting.
Hi, Andrew. Love the Solabs desk clock. We sell it in the shop. I'm sure it'll be at the show. It was my highlight of the show last year.
And I own one of the Solabs mechanical versions. Great watch.
Yeah, I've seen that on your wrist lately.
Also, forgive me, was not as familiar with Far and Swit, but I'm looking up their watches now. They're sick.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
like the Solar Chrono Vice 2.0 in bubblegum. First of all, that name, if you don't want to buy that watch because of the name, but it's got like this kind of like digital Tron Horizon motif on the dial. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Get excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited. So
yeah, I've been talking to them for like almost a year now, and I'm super excited that they're able to make it. Also coming back to Windup is Hamilton, and our friends at New York Jewelers are going to be repping them. So if we always have, I think consistently, if you're ever at the front desk for longer than like 15 minutes, you'll hear somebody come in and say, "Hey, where's the Hamilton booth?" So we're really excited to be able to say, "Oh, it's right down over here." So that's great. Very glad that Hamilton is going to be represented.
And New York Jewelers is a jeweler in Chicago.
If you were wondering, in
Just
case
to
you were wondering.
clarify.
Yeah. So local brand. There you go.
Yeah. Local AD. Very
and
exciting.
Shouting out just another local AD, which we're real excited about. Last year, if you remember, our opening night party was at CD Peacock's kind of flagship retail store. Well, CD Peacock, they're bringing their retail store to Windup this year. They'll be repping 4 brands that have never been shown at a Windup before, which are Bell & Ross, Longines, Tag Heuer, and Tudor. So really excited to welcome CD Peacock into the Windup Watch Fair and in a more official way, as they did partner with us last year. But having those brands repped in Windup, I don't know, Blake, what do you think? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, super excited. I think that we've, as over the years, like as Windup has evolved, like brands of certain calibers and sort of varieties have started sort of joining the tent, and I think what's cool is we've been able to get all these brands to join and do it in the vision that we always had for Windup. And I think it's fair to say, and the folks at CD Peacock like get us and have been really great partners to work with, and see like a ton of value and energy coming from the audience that we're able to bring. And I think it's like fair to say that this is probably going to be the most sort of unique, laid back environment you will have gotten to see a brand like Tudor or Bell & Ross or Longines or Tag. So I'm just really excited to have them sort of in the Windup space. And of course, very excited about those. Well, I mean, those are all really great brands. Hope they have the F1 watches. I'm very excited to see those. I love seeing every tutor because they're all great. Yeah, I'm super pumped.
Cool. Yeah, this was a fun one to kind of reel in and to talk to that team, and I've just been really impressed how, like you said, they're coming from a traditional jeweler background and they're really kind of taking on the principles of Windup in how they're presenting, which is really cool and exciting to see for everyone. So exciting stuff in terms of Chicago-based brands or Chicago-based retailers. Thank you, everyone, all of you, for supporting us in your hometown. So we really appreciate it. In other news, I just wanted to shout out a couple things that we have continued relationships with Bulova, one of our key partners. Go ahead, Nellie.
So we are hosting a screening of their 150th anniversary documentary. We've had really successful screenings ahead of each Windup so far this year. We're doing it again in Chicago. So on Friday night, we will be headed after the fair to the Alamo Draft House in Wrigleyville, to host a special screening with Bulova. There are going to be some fun giveaways. You can sign up at our website, find the posts on our Instagram. There's still some room, but there's limited space at the theater, so make sure you RSVP, but we'd love to see you there.
Yeah, it's a very interesting documentary. Bulova obviously touts itself as like a brand of firsts, that's part of their brand legacy. And I think it's easy to like hear that line and be like, okay, that's marketing speak. And then you see legitimately all of the things that they did for the first time. Yeah. And it's just it's really incredible. Yeah. And I think you leave the screening having learned a tremendous amount, not just about Bulova, but about just sort of watch history in general. So super interesting. I learned a lot.
There's no doubt about it. It definitely makes you kind of almost like root for the watch world in a weird way. It's like one of those types of things where you're like, wow, if it weren't for a watch company, some things out there just wouldn't have happened the way history has bared them out, So that's really cool. So in addition to the Bulova screening, we are, for the second time this year, partnering with them to create a Windup themed watch around the venue. So we had the San Francisco Golden Gate Bulova snorkel that came out at San Francisco and sold out with a kind of special edition box and a bundle. And we're recreating that for Chicago. We have a special illustration of the Cloud Gate on this particular watch. Do you guys know what the Cloud Gate is? I didn't either. If I said, do you know what the Chicago mirror bean is? Would you know what that is?
Yeah.
The official name of the big Chicago mirrored bean sculpture is the Cloud Gate.
Oh, interesting.
I learned that when I was writing the post for this collab. And I'm like, oh, it's called Cloud Gate.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful illustration on the back of the watch. It is bundled with an adapt strap as well as a really cool collapsible sling from our friends at Nomadic. So that full bundle comes in a custom box with the illustration on it. And we'll have a handful of them at the fair for pickup, and get them while the getting's good, because they flew off the shelves in San Francisco.
Yeah. They're super cool. Unique takes on the snorkel, which are like very popular for them. And, they come in these sort of like black gray cases with pops of color. And the dial on this one is very unique.
Yeah, it's a mirror finish on the dial, which is unlike any of the other snorkels.
Yeah. I think like a very tasteful interpretation of like the bean. It's not like a bean on the dial. It's
it's the Cloud Gate.
It's cloud. It's not even the Cloud Gate. It's just Cloud Gate.
Drop the.
Yeah, it's cleaner.
I'm going to continue calling it the bean. Thanks, guys.
I mean, honestly, that's the other. That's like what everyone calls it. So.
Yeah, and then the adapt strap is obviously the business, but the Nomadic collapsible pouch, I like played with one the other day. Is like very cool, or collapsible sling, because it's like this. It's literally like, I don't know, the size of a hamburger. Like it's not big when collapsed.
Yep.
But then you unzip it and you open it up, and it's like a decently sized sling. It's like kind of a perfect travel companion. I was very impressed by that.
Yeah, it's a cool grouping for specific to Chicago. So we're excited to be bringing it to you. And go ahead.
We'll also have our friends from Brooklady coming back, hosting our bar. Don't worry, there's a fabulous bar, full bar in Chicago. Always a great way to kick off a fun shopping weekend with a little cold bev on a hot day. So our friends at Brooklady, they're coming back. They'll have a selection of specialty cocktails to share with us, and they will also have a tasting bar. Really unique Scotch brand. I think they're very enthusiast-minded in the way that they create their product. So come and have a taste. Sip on us.
I really like their bottles. Like, we have one on our shelf here, and they have like one of the versions is like this very bright teal with white lettering. I like it a lot. It's not like your typical stuffy liquor bottle.
I know. And now whenever I'm, out and about in the town in New York at a bar, you see that on the shelf behind the bar. It's a real eye grabber. So
very iconic.
Yeah. And pro tip, if you are working on haggling with a brand and you're having a tough time, just go get them a drink and then bring it to the
seriously.
Yeah,
it's a good call.
That's an automatic 5% off.
How come people don't do that more often? Or does that happen?
Wait,
I just don't know about
pro tip, buy brands a drink. Just do it. See what happens. Don't mention that we sent you. They're already listening.
I also, my favorite pro tip at bars is, I'm convinced that I made this up because it's been my lived experience and I haven't heard it from anyone else. I've only said it. Is if you're ever at like an open bar or like a wedding or anything where you're not transacting money, typically there's not a tip jar out. If you want really good service and good pours for the whole evening, the first drink you get, say, "Oh, can I start a tip jar for you?" And like take a cup and put it out and put some cash in it. You're getting served first. You're getting served heavy.
That's a smooth
That's crazy
maneuver.
because Blake, you famously
I don't drink.
Don't drink at all.
No, there was a time.
Sometime in San Francisco, I saw you order one margarita and you were giggly, goofy, happy, silly.
Well, it's you gotta let your hair down sometimes.
Tell me about it.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Well, okay. So just back to our quick Chicago weekend. In addition to Windup, there are other events happening around our event, and we just want to shout out a couple. Our friends at Haraj are hosting some fun Thursday night festivities, so check out their socials for those signups and RSVPs. Our friends at Hampton, who are a Chicago-based brand that we forgot to mention earlier.
Oh my God, sorry.
Hampton, of course, we had you listed here, is just a couple blocks down from Windup, and on Saturday night, they have a really fun festivity as well, so check their socials and get in there. Again, of course, our Chicago-based friends. So exciting stuff. Oh, I want to shout out just a really quick piece of content that we just did for Hampton on the Worn and Wound website. If you didn't know much about Hampton, they're a legacy watch brand that is family owned, but they have innovated a patented engravable, removable case back. So if they've really perfected the engraving technique to an extremely like fine detail, and you can literally engrave just about anything on the back of a case back, including like a hand-drawn note or a hand-drawn picture, in like complete fidelity to like the original thing. And so we just launched a really cool piece of content with them for kind of really doubling down on the wedding watch. So kind of an opportunity to have a see-through, case back, but a removable, engravable, metal case back that clicks in over the exhibition window that you can engrave with your, wedding information or the day you were, engaged or what have you. And then they have other great designs that we kind of like said, okay, this one's really good for like the groomsman watch. It's like it's a little more affordable to give to like, 5 dudes because it's quartz, but it's like fancy and enough to wear to a wedding, or something else that I think a lot of people don't think of as like the father of the bride watch is another cool like use case for these engraved case backs. So definitely check out Hampton and hit them up if you want to check out their event on Saturday night. So lots of good stuff happening.
And I'll just say that event is like 2 blocks away
Literally.
from the venue. So it's an easy commute.
Jaunt, yeah.
I know Daniel has been posting about it in the Worn and Wound Plus Slack channel. So head on over there to the Windup Watch Fair channel and see the deets.
And in addition to kind of events happening outside of Windup, we have a bunch of events happening inside of Windup too. So I'm just going to run through our kind of run of show for panels and stuff, which always is kind of like coming together at the last minute, as I'm the guy who typically puts that together, and we're still kind of fine tuning, but I know what they are and when they are. So you mind if I
take it away, Kyle.
All right, let's do this. So on Friday, June 11th, we have 2 panels that day. We'll be kicking off a panel with Atelier Wen called The Micro-Independent Spirit and the Democratization of Watchmaking. We are going to be talking with them, as well as Christopher Ward and a couple other brands, to really kind of get into how these new kind of micro indies are messing with the conventions of the standard watch world and what they call the horological hegemony. Is that right? Yeah.
It's cool that the watch world and manufacturing is becoming so much more democratic as our democracy dies.
But
not wrong.
Yeah.
And then the last panel on Friday will be a surprise announcement panel with Horage. We cannot talk about what they're going to be announcing yet because it's going to be announced next Friday or on Friday on the panel. But they are going to be there with the CEO of Horage, Andy, as well as the Chief Operating Officer, David Sharp. You probably all have met him before at a Windup. And they're also going to have RT Custer from Vortic there as well. So it'll be an interesting announcement that we can't go into detail yet.
What if it has nothing to do with about watches?
I know, right? He's like, we're just going to start a burger shop or something. No,
that would be exciting.
I do know what it is, and it's going to be exciting. Definitely cruise by that panel to catch the news. On Saturday, we'll have 2 panels as well. The first one is called Maintaining Relevancy in an Obsolete Industry, and that's going to be with our friends at Islander and Brew. So Mark and John from Brew will be there, hosted by our very own Blake Mallon.
Watch out.
3 of the greatest personalities in the watch space.
Wow.
Regardless of what the topic is, I think you guys are just going to get in there and cook.
It's going to be zinger after zinger. It's going to be a hootenanny. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. The later panel that day will be with our friends at Oris, and they are inviting Stephen Holtzman from CD Peacock to join them. And I should have mentioned that Zach Kazan will be the moderator of most of these panels, other than the one that you're doing there for us, Blake. But this one is called To AD or Not to AD, meaning authorized dealer. And they're going to really dig into what is the modern AD model. It's a model that's existed since like the early 1900s. How is it changing? How should it change? And how does it compete with things like the gray market and auction sites? So I think it will be really interesting to have Kazan break down with these 2 gentlemen, VJ and Steve Holtzman, on like what it is to buy from an AD and why that's important versus how things are shaking out for that portion of the industry. So that'll be really cool. And then on Sunday, we will have the Worn and Wound podcast recorded live, and we're going to be doing that with our friends at Citizen, and again, celebrating 40 years of Aqualand with Citizen. So Zach Kazan will be hosting, and he'll be joined by Neil Brick, who's the director of merchandising at Citizen, Ben Lowry from Submersible Wrist and Watches of Espionage, and Justin Souders, who is the painter and artist behind this gifted oil painting of the Aqualand at the end of the day. So it should be a really cool, exciting bunch of content to come and enjoy at the fair.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Is he painting at the show?
No, the painting is complete, but he will be there. It'll be on display. He'll be answering questions throughout all 3 days. And then I think they're going to be raffling it on the last day of the fair.
Oil paint takes a notoriously long amount of time to dry, so it's
correct.
Good that
and I think he keeps it on. I think his are very rich and colorful styles of painting. So lots of good stuff on the content side of Windup in Chicago.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Awesome. Nelly. Well, look, I guess before we go through the giant list, I just wanted to ask a question. Is there anything that you guys are looking forward to doing in Chicago or revisiting in Chicago as we come back and get back in the swing of things there?
Yes.
Which is?
So I've been to Chicago now, actually probably 7 or 8 times, either for Windup or prepping for a Windup. But it's always a quick trip or a busy trip. And last year was the first time I really felt like I got out into Chicago and saw a little bit more. They have great like bike share, like a city bike
cool.
New York based. So this year I'm bringing my helmet and I'm going to be biking all over that dang town.
Cool.
Along the lake. Hello, gorgeous. There's a huge lake as big as an ocean.
Yeah.
It's right there.
It's really crazy
I went
to look at.
swimming last year.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Weird.
That's not that weird.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, that's
It's
cool.
not that weird, Blake. But I'm super excited. Getting my suit, getting my bike helmet,
Go to
getting
the dispensary.
out. No,
Get it.
come on. Dom, cut that out. But I'm really looking forward to that. Also, gonna take an architectural boat on the
I've done that.
river
It's very
way on the
cool.
loop. I'm
Is the
all
boat
about
architectural or the boat ride is
Sorry,
about architecture?
I kind of can't even remember what I just said, but it's a tour. It's
Gotcha.
an architectural
tour on a boat.
You ride
You
down
sit
that
on a
little
boat.
river and
Yeah.
they point out all the cool buildings that were made.
I'm majorly into an architectural tour.
Yeah, it's very
Love it.
interesting.
What
So
about you, Blake?
that's what I'm
Anything that you're
excited
gonna enjoy again? Or
I mean, I'm going to enjoy the whole thing as I always do.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for some of the new brands that are going to be there. I'm excited to see what Casio brings. Yeah, I mean, I'm always just excited to go back to Chicago. It's a good group of people. There are a few things that are happening that I think are kind of like unofficial, or like I've seen people announce that I think are worth mentioning.
Sure.
I saw that Studio Underdog, I think in partnership, or I know in partnership with Tony Trina and his sort of Substack newsletter, if I'm getting that right. Sorry, didn't prepare. They're doing like an opening party. So I think if you...
And with Atelier Wen.
And Atelier Wen, yeah. Cool. Yeah, I think on their socials, you can probably check that out.
That's
and
fun. Lots of fun
RSVP.
stuff.
They're calling it the unofficial Windup kickoff.
Unofficial, thoroughly unscientific. Yep. Any Brian Lair heads out there? And then also, our plan is to try to do a Weekend Watches live from the show floor.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Like live stream
Whoa.
on YouTube.
Oh, that's cool.
Watch out.
Better talk to the venue about bandwidth.
Yeah, that was our only concern. So
Well, glad peek behind the curtain how the sausage gets made.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta call the venue, make sure our internet's good.
I can tell you the one thing I'm not going to do again.
What?
So last year on the day after Windup, before we went to the airport, I went on a run. And while I was on my run, my best buddy sent me the location of Mr. Beef, which is the place that the bear is based on.
Oh, yeah.
The restaurant. And I was like, oh, I'm not far. So while I was on my run, I went to Mr. Beef and I got a sandwich at Mr. Beef. It was awesome. The run was no longer a run at that point, though.
Oh, yeah.
And
for
that was
sure.
pretty far from the hotel at that point, and I need to get back and get ready to like go to the airport.
Did
So
you
now
run
I'm like,
back?
well, I kind of just like, I don't know if you call it running. I trotted back.
Yeah,
I
you
guess.
can't. I don't think you can go on a run in
No.
the hot
I
July
negated the
summer in
run
Chicago.
instantly with a hot sandwich from Mr. Beef, which was extremely good, but like not run compatible in any way,
No.
shape, or form.
Yeah. Something called a Mr. Beef in combination with a run on a hot summer day seems
That's a
like a
trudge
terrible
situation.
I was having a rough time,
Yeah, no, that's
yeah.
not wise.
but it was a good memory. Just won't repeat it.
Yeah, good. Sorry, Mr. Beef.
Yeah.
Not this time.
Nope. All right, Nelly, the time has come.
All right.
Do you need a sip of agua before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Sound effect. All right, take it away.
Okay.
Take it away.
Kyle, will you just do me the solid of looking at the website and going through the website while I read through this list to make sure I
have to,
don't
like-
miss anyone?
Like real time gut check you here.
Yeah, gut
okay.
check me.
All right, let's do this.
All right. Abingdon, Accutron, Ad Patina, Alexander James Watches, Alpina, Armand Nicolay, Artifact, Atelier Wen, Astor & Banks, Aviate, Ball, Baltic, Bauhaus, Beau Blue, Bell & Ross, Benris, Brew, Brooklotti, Bulova, Casio, CD Peacock, Celeste, Christopher Ward, Citizen, Colorado Watch Co., David Lane Designs, Dennison, eBay, Echo Neutra, Elliott Brown, Farrer, Far and Swit, Festina, Formex, Frederic Constant, Giant Mouse, Haim, Hampton, Hamilton, Orage, Islander, Jack Mason, Jacques Bianchi, Jacques de Manoir, Young Hans, Laco, Longines, Lorca, Makina, Marathon, March Lab, Meistersinger, Mr. Jones Watches, Mula, Nomadic, Nomatic, Oak and Oscar, Oak Street Bootmakers, Oris, Resco Instruments, Romer, Rula, Seiko Clock, Space One, Spinnaker, Sternglass, Strom, Studio Underdog, Tag Heuer, The Watch Preserve Tudor, Trafford, Venezianico, Vortic, Vulcane, Watchcraft, Watch Gang, Yama, and Zeppelin.
Boom.
That was great.
Well done.
Yeah, really good. Potent potables. It was good. You enunciated effectively.
That's what I have my BFA in theater
Enunciation? No, I'm just joking. Amazing. All right. This is going to be fun, you guys. I'm excited for Chicago.
Yeah.
This is always fun to chat with you guys about a wind-up.
Let's wrap it up. 10th anniversary of the Windup Watch Fair, Chicago edition, is taking place on Friday, July 11th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., Saturday, July 12th from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., Sunday, July 13th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. It will be at Venue West, 221 North Paulina Street in Chicago, Illinois. Check out windupwatchfair.com and at Windup Watch Fair on socials for all the latest info and deets.
Not Paulina.
Paulina.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yep. Thanks a lot, everyone. See you in Chicago.